Okay, we have a triangle drawn with all the points labeled for us. So I think the easiest way to think of reflecting this across this line, this is x equals 1, is to know that a reflection is going to be a mirror image of this triangle. So it's going to look kind of like, the flipped image of it across the line here. Okay, so if we were just to reflect it across the the y-axis, notice how this is two units away from the y-axis. The other one will be 2 units here. Okay, so this point would correspond to this point. And again, this is way here at -8. I would go all the way out here to +8, and that would be the other one. And this is at -4, 1. This would be at +4, 1. And if I connected all these dots, this would be reflected across the y-axis, which it's not asking us to do. It's asking us to reflect it across the line that's given, which is x equals 1. Well, here's the trick. How far away from the y-axis is the line that we want to reflect it? Well, clearly it's 1 unit away. So in other words, if I move this triangle 1 unit to the right, just all these 3 dots 1 unit to the right, we'll get what we actually want, it to be reflected across that line. And I'll show you that. Just clear all this out. So I'm going to move, instead of moving this this is -2 to +2, I'm going to move it to +3. Okay? And this is -4 to +4, I'm going to move it to +5. This is -8, I'm going to move it to +9. I'll connect all these dots. Okay, so now if I did this correctly, this triangle is reflected across the line x equals 1. And if you just count, you'll see that this is 1, 2, 3 units to the left. This is 1, 2, 3 units to the right. Okay, so what is the coordinate rule then? The coordinate rule is that the x is definitely flipped over from negative to the positive side. So we're definitely going to say, if we write the coordinate rule, that x, sorry, I'm doing this with a mouse. So what happened? So this is my arrow. So xy became, remember, we flipped it over, but then we had to move it to the right one. So it's going to be x is going to become the opposite of x. And then we had to move it to the right 1 unit. So we're adding 1 to that. That's a terrible plus sign. Oh, by the way, these are in parentheses, right? And then the y values just stayed the same because it's the same height. So that's like a little shortcut on how you can actually see what the coordinate rule is just flip it across the axis and see how far that axis is from where you want to reflect it. So this is at -2. So this should be at the opposite of -2 plus 1 more, which is what? 3, right? And it clearly is at 3. This is at -4. The opposite of that would be 4 plus 1 would be 5 right there, and that's that x value. This x value is at -8. The opposite of that would be 8 plus 1 more would be right here at 9. Okay? So do the last screen after this screen. Maybe it'll make a little more sense if you go back and do that one more time.